Okay, you're fine.
Hello, everyone. Good morning. My name is Netra. I have been doing makeup since 1998, long time. and one of the things I've worked at, my focus is a lot of times beauty makeup, weddings, things like that, enhancing your natural beauty, of course. And then I've also been doing a little bit of print work as well. Um, so it's just makeup has always been a passion of mine. As much as I used to do it full time. I started originally working with MAC Cosmetics. Decided to go to school for aesthetics. And during that time, I focused on freelancing and building my portfolio so that I can do more work. Took a step back for a little bit, but still continue to um, work in makeup as well as doing like weddings, proms, photo shoots, and things like that. Um, I don't know where else to go from that one. I'm a little nervous, so bear with me. My lovely model here. Do you guys have any particular questions or things that you wanted to see or focus on?
Oh, what was print? Oh, sorry, I'm too print. What was the print maker?
Oh, I actually did a photo shoot for a woman who has a nonprofit. So I actually did her makeup for her book cover. Yep. So for all her posters and things like that, I do her work for that. Hmm. Yes.
Do you do graduation makeup?
Yes. Yep. Any type of special event or occasion. Yes.
What will you be doing today? Stop playing or food?
I'm thinking we'll do soft glam, since Sonia does have to go back to work. So we'll be focusing on soft glam.
Great.
Yeah.
I have a question.
Sure.
I'm glad that you did mention that you work for Mac because we just had with this was my 106 class letting them know that Mac is a program that they can get to get their discounts.
Yes.
Sent off with your license.
Yes.
So I'm glad that you did mention that. But how did you like working with the public when you were doing Mac?
You know what? It taught me a lot because actually it was my first experience into the cosmetic world. And when I tell you that it was literally baptism by fire, because not only did you have to quickly adapt, but you had to adapt to a full counter of people who are constantly coming back and forth. So yes, you would sometimes be doing makeup. You'd literally be doing makeup sometimes from the time you got there to the time you left. And learning how to be fast also. One of the things is that there are also sometimes there are so many rules that people are like, well, full makeup should take an hour or it should take 2 hours. It doesn't have to because sometimes you just don't have that type of time.
Right.
Sometimes you have to crank it out, get it done, and keep it moving, especially when you have large bridal parties, 10 people waiting to get their makeup done for prom, and so on and so forth. But it was a great experience because it was such a learning experience because they focused so much on product knowledge. And I would have to say, out of other companies that I've worked for, they're one of the strongest ones in product knowledge.
Right. Right. So I was like, well, no, Mac is a account and it's should be giving you discounts from like somehow.
And if I'm not mistaken, they still have it where you have to actually go to a Mac store to to use your discount.
It can be like a Sephora.
No,
No.
no, postal.
No, it has to be a pro store. Yeah, it has to be a pro store. Absolutely, absolutely. So since we're going to focus on a soft glam, one of the things I want to preface also is that there are so many things out here, especially with makeup evolving so much in the social media and things like that. Um, there really are no rules. I like to do eyes first, and then I focus on doing the foundations and concealers and things like that. It saves me time. That was one of my kind of things that I picked up from the Mac world, so that I didn't spend a lot of time cleaning up, especially when I'm creating an eye. You have fallout, of course. So it was easier for me to do focus on eyes first, then go in with my concealer, then go in with my foundations, as you'll see me do today. Um, Primer, again, something that is optional for some. It's not necessary. You don't have to have it. but if you feel that you do, by all means, go for it. I always prep my eyes with a bit of concealer so that I can get the eyeshadow to adhere. And another thing I was going to say, and I'm so sorry because I had it on tip of my tongue just now, but it'll come back to me. It'll come back. So I'm going to start off with a cream concealer. Yes, skin prep. Thank you. Please moisturize. Please make sure you're moisturizing and cleansing the skin prior to any makeup application. Sonia's already come moisturized. The makeup is only going to look as good as the canvas. If the canvas is not prepared, if the skin is dry, the makeup will reflect every dry line, every flake, everything that you have. The makeup is going to reflect that. Always make sure that you're exfoliating your skin. Make sure that you're moisturizing under those eyes because you don't want that concealer to fall into those spaces because makeup will enhance every imperfection you don't want it to enhance if you're not taking good care of your skin. Thank you, Muse. So I'm gonna start off with the cream concealer, just a small amount. Now, when you guys do you guys get makeup kits also, or no? You guys just talk about
We
when
do,
you
but
start
they're
off? Hmm?
very basic.
Okay.
Somebody whip it out so she can just like glance at it. You have yours.
Oh, no, I have lots of home. I don't have like hard makeup.
Oh, anybody have it in here?
Let me know when you
Oh.
need me to close.
Just keep close. Okay. So when you say basic, is it something that's like just basic tones or blushes or anything like that? Neutral colors, okay. And then just basing my lid on there. It should go all the way up to the brow.
So you're putting concealer on her right now?
I'm doing concealer. I'm using that as my eyeshadow base. You can also use eyeshadow primers. Usually I will do an eyeshadow primer if I'm doing like something that's high glam or something like that. I'll usually use a primer that's more white or beige base because I want those colors to really pop out. And then we'll start off. This is actually MAC palette that I created myself, which is one of the cool things is that if you guys do decide to foray into makeup, create your own palettes. You know, the pre-made palettes are great, but you can also create your own palettes that and cater them to how you want them, or how you want to organize your colors and things like that. If you want a neutral palette, a matte palette, frost, or anything like that, I definitely recommend creating your own palettes. I'm just gonna keep it simple as Sonia today. We're gonna start her off with a beige tone that was for me. And when I'm applying shadows, I always pat them into the lid.
Like versus swiping?
Versus swiping, yes, because I want the color to be pressed into that lid. I want that color to have, because if I just brush it, it's not going to give me the same impact as I want it to. So I like to pack it in for, especially, and also for long wear as well.
So I have a question. You said eyeshadow primer. Like what's different than that from like a regular primer, I guess? I didn't know that there were specialty lid primers.
The lid primer I like because it's safer on the eye. Some of the primers are not safe because remember, some of the face primers are geared towards oily skin, enlarged pores, things like that. So I like to use something that's noted for the eye. It's usually going to come in like a small pot or two. And please don't hesitate if you guys have any questions while I'm applying.
So if you're gonna do like a blended look, you'll still pat in the eyeshadow.
Uh-huh.
And then blend it.
I always pat in my lid first, and then when I go into my blended look, I change my brush. Yes, ma'am.
So, what size brush do you recommend using for applying the eyeshadow?
You know what? It's again, that's one of those things that's preference. I like always a flat brush when I'm applying shadows. Uh,
Oh, oh, so this is one kid here. Can you just kind of like? Yeah.
oh, okay. Oh, okay. Oh, so you have color correctors and things like that too?
And then that's the
Okay.
one, can you show her that one too? That was one for the last semester.
That was the product started that.
Okay. Oh, that's nice. So I usually like a flat brush when I'm applying my lid color. And then when I'm doing my crease, I go fluffy. Because that's what's giving me my soft blend. Because everything is about that blend for the most part. You can, if you want to do a hard line, that's great. Because especially if you're doing like a cut crease or something like that, then you want a harder line. But when you're trying to get pulled together multiple colors, you got to get that blend in, or else if you're not careful, it can get muddy. So now we're gonna go in with a brown.
Your brushes are clean.
I got,
I'll
actually,
take notes.
I got, y'all gotta clean them brushes.
Yes, what do you use to clean your makeup brushes?
I actually use clarifying shampoo. I use
Okay.
clarifying shampoo that, and I prefer a shampoo that doesn't, nothing that has like any conditioner or anything like that in it. Clarifying shampoo. If it's something that, because I try to use more, natural hair brushes. But if I'm applying foundation, I like a nylon brush. And that sometimes you can actually use clarifying shampoo with a drop of Dawn dishwashing liquid because it cuts the oil from the foundation and concealers.
There's someone else who told me she used face wash.
Hmm?
Her face wash.
Mhm. Now with my blender, this is kind of like, I like to call this kind of my transitional color. Everybody has their own transitional colors. This is kind of a brown transition so that as you can see the difference, see where the line, you can see where I stopped. In here, you're seeing where the creamy tone is going into the brown a little bit. Because that's softening my line.
How would you clean the palettes though?
Cleaning palettes, that's always more than a notion. What I usually like to do is I use a wedge sponge and one that's kind of dense. I spray it with alcohol and then I go around my palettes. Yeah, I go around my palettes. When I do my lipsticks, I actually shave my lipsticks. I spray them and I shave them. Even though I don't usually use lipstick directly on anybody's lip. But I just always like to make sure they're clean and sanitized. That was one of the biggest things that with MAC, and I really appreciated that about them, is that everything was all about sanitation, sanitation, sanitation. Because when you're doing so many makeups throughout the day, you have all these people. You got to make sure that you're grabbing brushes. If you're doing a big party, you literally are carrying 2 to 3 sets of brushes with you so that you don't contaminate.
See, sanitation does not here. It goes with you out of here. And they get tired of us.
Sanitation, sanitation, because you know what? You don't want to do somebody's eye and they talk about they got something, a pink eye, anything like that. That is the last conversation you want to have. Because you didn't do your part, you know what I mean? So now I'm gonna take my deeper brown. And I'm gonna focus that right in my outer corner. Just to add a little bit of depth. And
You
this
see how delayed it is?
I mean, that's
Yeah,
just,
it's cool.
that's a Zoom meeting.
Yeah.
And this is one of my favorite soft looks to use. Just sometimes those neutrals and tones of brown. So how many of you guys out here are carving out your eyebrows?
Me 100%.
Yeah, yeah, it's like that good feeling, that good shaping. Now, because I've done Miss Sonia's makeup before, I know that she doesn't really do anything that's like a truly dramatic brow per se. But what we do is we focus on doing a fill-in for the most part. So I usually like to do a nice soft stroke. And I know I just skipped around, but that's kind of my um because I want to be able to get that brow bone filled in. So I want to make sure my brow is filled in. Because that's also going to be my cleanup as well.
Do you always do brows first, or I mean, do you always do eyes first, or would you consider doing like brows first?
I do brows first too. I'm also nervous. So right now I'm probably going all out of order. So y'all bear with me. But yeah, because brows initially frame the face. So it would make sense to do brows first. You know what I mean? Because that's where you're getting your lines going. A lot of times if it's somebody who I've never done their makeup before, I probably will do brows first and then just making sure that I'm doing that part first so that I can get that base going.
So what do you do if a client prefers for their brows not to be filled? Like what if they have naturally thick brows and they just don't
And then-
want to fill?
And you don't?
And you find out about this during the consultation?
Yes. I ask a lot of questions. And prior to doing makeup, I'm always going to ask questions. I'm always going to ask, what do you like? What is it that you're looking for? What's the look that you're going for? Um, because you want to know, do you like a dramatic brow? Do you prefer to have more of a softer look? And people will tell you, and then that's your opportunity to say, find out what it is that they're looking at and what drives them. I had one client who thought she needed to be contoured. Well, she really didn't need such a heavy contour because she has very strong features. She had a very strong jaw, the high cheekbones naturally. So carving her out was going to just make it look more pronounced and less soft. It was going to give her more of it's just going to give her a little bit of a harder look. So I'll always ask those questions and then we can kind of compromise and work it out together. Now I know that a lot of times we'll hear people talk about with brows and want them to match. How many of y'all subscribe to making sure your brows match completely? Yes.
They're fraternal.
Yeah.
Like sisters not
Yeah.
There you go. There you go. There you go. And you know what? It's okay if that is what you do. That is perfectly fine. Um, but I noticed as I was coming up and getting into doing my own brows and things like that, I would spend so much time trying to get them to match that by the time I was done, I had none. So so and I already have thin brows. So for me, it was like, let me slow my roll a little bit. And then even when I worked in the beauty industry, they said the same thing. This is just a little bit of concealer that I'm going up under the brow with. This is kind of my cleanup. Again, keeping it soft. If it were a brow that I had to carve out a little bit more, I probably would go a little bit heavier. But again, we're doing a softer look.
Do you still put concealer even if the brows aren't filled in?
Are filled in? Yep, I will. Just so, because sometimes that just sharpens them a little bit.
Like a pop.
Mhm. Light up it brow a little bit. Now, are any of you guys getting into doing lashes and such also? Yeah. What are you doing? What kind of lashes you doing?
I'm into lash clusters as of now.
Okay.
Just because I want to keep them on a little longer. When I want to go for like more of a 1 day look, I'll go with the strip.
With the strip? Okay.
I'm more of a cluster girly. It's just easier to apply. I could never apply strips easy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've never tried applying clusters, but they seem more intimidating to me because you have to like line them up, right?
Yeah, I just feel like it's easier to apply strips because I feel like you gotta be more tedious with it, and it's always hard to get like that one little quarter to stay put. I feel like with clusters, it's like way easier.
Really?
Yeah. And I feel like it looks more natural when you put it under your natural lash rather than on top of your natural lash.
See, that's always a part that kind of made me nervous is that under the lash line because I wear eyeglasses, so I already have to. I can't see, so I'm already almost in the sink trying to put on a lash anyway. Huh?
need a mirror for my face.
Really?
When I put eyeliner on, it like bumps against the mirror because I'm like,
I know.
I
Yeah.
tried doing lashes one time.
Uh-huh.
One of my girlfriends, who's also a stylist, so I don't know why she sit there and let me do it. But she sat there and allowed me to do it. And it was good for that day.
For the day.
The next day she called me like, I can't open my I was like, you on your own.
Like, it's on your own. That's it for me.
I ain't got nothing to do with that. I know I was practicing.
I know it's right. Now we're gonna go into, now that we've done our eye, we've got a little bit of a darker shade. I actually took a bit of a black tone on our outer corner. And then the cool thing is that how it all pulls together once you start putting concealer on and the makeup and things like that. Now I noticed, because now you guys also tap into color theory as well, right? With
Right.
hair color and things like that. So one of the things, before I even got into makeup and when I was in college, my first love was art. And I actually went to college to study art, actual drawing and color and painting and things like that. So so I really got into it made such a natural transition into makeup doing the color theory piece of it, understanding how colors blend and things like that. We cannot wear one shade of makeup, foundation, sorry. Sometimes you have to get two shades because of the different tones in our skin. Sometimes we're lighter in here, sometimes we're darker around here. So because Miss Sonia has a little bit of darkness under her eyes, I'm actually going to use more of a red based concealer to counteract the purple of the darkness. Look up for me.
We kind of talked about that yesterday.
I'm a big mixer. I would, it's very difficult for me to ever tell anybody one particular product that I use because I mix a lot because of that.
So who's better than color corrector?
No, you can go color corrector too. Sometimes color corrector is easier for folks that don't have time to be mixing colors.
do you find it's hard to repeat if you have a repeat client to like get their exact shades again or?
No, I might just probably use something different. If I do, I could go, I've done Sonia, this will be my third time doing, and I've probably done something different every time. Because the mission is as long as the end result. And that's why sometimes as an artist, it can be difficult to tell people. They'll be like, what did you use? I'm like, well, I used this, this, and this. And then we brought a friend with us today. So we're going to actually, and put a little bit right on top of that.
Yeah, I can see how the dark under her eyes disappeared.
Mhm.
Yeah, it was just like that.
You said what color base was that to counteract the dark?
Red.
Red.
So she used red to cancel it out.
A red, uh-huh.
I'm asking
Oh,
them.
I'm sorry. I'm so sorry.
So she used red to cancel it out. What color was present?
It was like a dark purple shade.
But it probably had a wood base. Green.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. If you're using red to cancel, then, because the color theory is color theory, doesn't matter if you makeup or it's all the same. I just want to say hi.
Hi.
Okay, it's my name's Karen. Okay, son. I know, right? All right,
All right, thanks.
I'll be back.
Okay,
Let me know when you're done.
okay, all right, we will.
And you're just using the concealer right now to cancel out your shade, right? Are you still gonna put it on top of the foundation?
So right now, I'm just using my concealer, but these are some of my favorite brushes. You all, let me tell you something. Sometimes your favorite item or tool is not going to cost you tons. These brushes they're Real Techniques, and I use these. They clean well. They apply foundation beautifully. You don't and if you don't, you can find them at Target, Walgreens, TJ Maxx, all of them. And there's one. It's one of my favorite products because it like I said, it blends well. It moves around the product well. Clean it, you're done, and then you don't feel bad if it does. When it wears out, you don't feel bad about tossing it. Whereas when you're buying like some of these more high-end foundation brushes,
Yeah,
you're spending $50. You're spending $75, the whole nine. You'd be surprised. That can be one of your favorite tools, especially for even doing your own foundations.
make sure you write that down, guys. Put it in your notes.
And because she has a little bit of hyperpigmentation, I'm just gently brushing that same concealer. This is all I use that was on the tip of this. Yes.
Do you feel like it's important to know the person's eye shape and face shape to determine the exact type of makeup look that would best suit them?
Well, I think it's one of those things is that you're never gonna you're gonna you got to know as you go into makeup piece what's going to work for their eye shape. If they have a hooded eye, if they have a round face. But again, that goes back into, I have a double chin. Can you minimize the look? Now you're getting into contouring. So that's a part of those conversations of what it is they're trying to exactly enhance. Mhm.
What if they didn't ask you to minimize the double chin? Would you just do it in your procedure?
I would do it softly.
Yeah.
I would do it softly as a part of it, but I wouldn't do anything hard. Especially if they're not a makeup wearer or they're not comfortable. I always, less is more. One thing about it, you can always add more. But when you put on too much, it's hard to take it off without starting all over.
Yeah, I hate that.
Okay. And see how that just completely took away the darkness that was under her eyes. You guys have any favorite foundations that you like? What's your favorite?
Drugstore, Maybelline 50, high-end, NARS.
NARS, yes. Love me some NARS. Matter of fact, using that right. Well,
Oh, go ahead, sorry. I have one gentleman
uh-huh.
that's sitting through this, and we were talking yesterday about like male newscasters that have to, put something on. You have any advice for him since he has to do makeup at some point?
You know what? For men, they keep it light. They usually prefer something almost in a tinted, like almost like a tinted moisturizer, because they don't want to look like they have makeup on. Any of them that want to cover up their beard, they usually You can actually tap a mascara wand on the grays to conceal those. Um, keep it simple. They don't like a lot and they don't want to look heavy. That's the biggest thing.
Would you do something to cover up if they had hyperpigmentation? Would you do something like that as well still?
But again, like just keeping it light so that they're not, because the camera is going to pick up every last bit of that makeup.
And then how are you avoiding like getting makeup on like her edges and stuff?
The way I brush. Yep, again, my real techniques and just going around. If it's somebody who has more defined edge, I might ask them to just keep their band on so that we don't get makeup on that, but just being very mindful of that piece.
Do you prefer using the brush over beauty blenders to blend in foundation?
I do. I do. For the sake of time, I do.
Something about bacteria and beauty sponges, and I can't unsee it. Yeah, because you moist, because especially the teardrop ones, where you get them wet and the bacteria just festers.
And I think it's one of those things that I got so caught up again back on sanitation. I know y'all probably.
Yes, no.
I
It's key.
But you get so caught up in a lot of times I get afraid of that because even when I'm doing makeup, I don't use my hands a lot. I don't know if you guys noticed, but I don't use my hands a lot. I might use the side of my finger or something like that, or the base of my hand, but I don't use my hands because of sanitation. Even though, I've sprayed with alcohol or wiped them down or whatever, I just something I'm very mindful of not to use my hands. So anything that, like trying to wash a beauty blender, I've tried that. It's easier to wash my brushes, to be honest, and to make sure those are sanitized versus a beauty blender. Plus, you got to make sure it's dry. Then you got to make sure that it's not mildewed and all that. It's just too many pieces for me. They go into that. But again, I tell folks, go for what you know. If that's what you like, then by all means, go for it.
So then, since you use a brush for foundation, it's really about the brush and the technique of you doing it, so it's not like streaky and everything.
Yep, exactly. Because as you can see, now I just buffed it into her. Does she look streaked? Everything looks smooth. Yep. Mhm. Now I'm going to take a little product, same brush. I'm just going to put a little bit of brightness right here in her outer corner. This is a Yves Saint Laurent Touche Eclat. It's by Yves Saint Laurent. It's called Touche Eclat. And it's like a little bit of a highlighter corrector. It's great for shaping the brows. It's great for brightening up under the eye again. It's just kind of one of those products it doesn't have to be Yves Saint Laurent, but sometimes those little pin like highlighters are really great for just adding that little extra oomph.
Are there any like beginner friendly brands you would recommend? Like
affordable? Oh gosh, yeah. To be honest, Elf.
I love it, dude.
Elf has tons of stuff that you can play with to get yourself started. Everything has gotten so when I first started doing makeup, eyeshadow with MAC was $12. You know what I mean? Like it's a big difference. It's like double the price now. But yeah, Elf is a great line to use to play with because they have so many options. That's a good one. NYX always has something great, and they're pretty innovative as well. They always have something new. How do you all feel about baking?
About what?
Baking.
It's a necessity.
Depending on how you do it.
Depending on how much of it you do, and how much you pack it on there too. That's another thing. One of the things with baking, I find because you have to be careful because so many people use it. One of my products that I use a lot of times is the banana powder by Ben Nye. You have to be super careful with that because it can, and especially when you take photographs, some products have a titanium dioxide in it, which oftentimes if you overdo it, it can reflect. when you take photographs. It literally will reflect white. So like sometimes you'll see people when they take photographs and all of a sudden that under eye is like just super duper light because it's kind of overdone. So if you're, yep, exactly, makes you look ashy. So when you are doing something like that and really powdering up like that, you really have to spray so that you can bring that down and get that even tone so you're not ashy.
Do you use press powder?
Hmm?
Do you use press powder or just like?
Press powder, sometimes. Sometimes if I want a heavier foundation look, I'll use press powder. Actually, I'll use a foundation based press powder. Because I want that makeup to really stay and stay in place. So I'll go that route.
And when you do that, do you use the press powder before, or do you use both or just one?
It depends on how much coverage I'm going for. It depends on how much coverage I'm going for.
Look.
And would you use the press powder before or after the loose powder?
Before press powder, before or after?
The loose powder.
I would use it before because you're using the loose powder to pretty much set.
Oh, so we can go ahead and put the press powder on the rest of our face and go back to the loose powder.
You can, but you don't have to, because now you're really powdery. You're really powdery if you go that route. Because remember, you're getting the press powder is giving you, depends on how you do it. If you're gonna use the press powder with a sponge, then you're already giving yourself a full coverage. If you're gonna apply your press powder with a brush, you're giving yourself a lighter coverage. You don't need to use a press powder and a loose powder per se, because that you're making yourself very powdered up. So
How do
I'm
you feel about setting spray?
love setting spray, and I'm mad because I forgot it.
So do you use setting spray and setting powder or just one?
I always use setting spray. I'll use both.
Wait, I'm sorry, what are you using right now?
I'm just using a setting powder right now.
Okay,
Yep, and I'm just using that to under her eyes right now
okay,
to make sure I set that concealer in place.
okay.
Yeah.
So you would use both powder and
Yes.
spray? Okay.
So you don't use setting powder like closer to the end, you use it like after you apply something so it can stick, and then you can apply like more on top.
You can, it depends on what type of coverage you're going for. Like I've already done her concealer, but and her foundation. I've done that part. But now I kind of want to make sure that I'm setting that concealer in place. And I didn't want to give her a heavy duty baked look because sometimes what people do, you'll see a lot of people will pat the powder, setting powder, loose powder, whichever, they'll pat it under the eyes and then do makeup or then move on to something else. There are no rules. You have to do what you can do what's comfortable for you. But because we're doing more of a soft glam, I'm trying to like do a light brush of setting. But I would spray her too on top of it. Yeah. Did I answer your question a little bit? Okay.
What is your favorite method for when you're trying to do a cut crease with the eyeshadow? Because I see some people that use like a piece of tape to get like the cut crease when they're trying to do the eyeshadow and the eyeliner.
You know what? You can I've seen tape. We were actually talking about tape a little bit earlier. A lot of times if I'm gonna do something like that, because I'm a little you still have to be mindful of people's skin and their sensitivities, which is something that's so important. So usually if you want to do a hard cut, use a wedge sponge. Because if you take your sponge and take your brush, you can get that same carve
Right.
the same way.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Without taping. Because what if they have a reaction to the tape? What if they, you'd have to use surgical tape? Then you have to, you know what I mean? So
Yeah.
you have to just be very careful about your client's skin because you don't want them to have any unnecessary irritation. Because again, that's a conversation you do not want to have. I know. Right. Right. I broke out. Oh no, it wasn't me. Wasn't me.
I might have setting
Yes.
spray by the way.
Huh?
I might have setting spray if you want.
Oh, that would be great. That would be great. Now, one of the things I didn't do in my chit chatting is I didn't line her. I'm gonna keep her very simple with like a little bit of with a powdered liner. One of my favorite brushes, a little flat, something stiff, angled. You use flat. Thank you so much. Looks pretty. And with this one, I'm just gonna press right along her lash line. when you guys, if you do a client that's not doing lashes, or even if they are doing lashes, and you decide to, you mascara them first, make sure you're using disposables or using the client's own mascara.
Is that your music playing?
And what brand is this?
Hmm?
That's powder.
It's actually, it's just powder shadow. Powder shadow, a lot of times, if you want a little bit of a softer look. Um, of course, liquid liner if you want that cat eye going.
Do you,
Mhm.
would you just use like the same thing, like a shadow primer or something? I feel like every time I do cat eyeliner, it like transfers to the lid, like with blinking and stuff.
Mhm.
Do you have like a tip for how to deal with that?
You know what? The key is really looking down and keeping your eyes down
Right.
until that dries. And sometimes you have to start small and build. Because if you start off with a thick line, that's what happens, is because it takes a little bit longer for it to dry at that point. So sometimes if you kind of start and carve that out a little bit first, but you have to keep that eye down. Even the same thing when you're doing mascara, you get your mascara going and then it's up here. You know, sometimes you just have to look down and keep it down a little bit longer until that sets.
How do you feel about underpainting and have you ever tried
Underpainting,
underpainting the face?
what do you mean? I actually have not heard of that.
It's like when you go ahead with the contour, with the blush, with the concealer,
Uh-huh.
and the last thing you put on is foundation.
Oh, and do everything at like kind of blend it all in together. Yeah, that's a lot. That's a lot. I'm not
Tried it? No, but I wanna try it.
Now I'm gonna have to look at that now. Now you're gonna have to. I'm gonna have to do a little research now, because that's a lot. I've seen where people do. I've seen, like, I've watched them do makeup and they'll have like that on this and the. Cause yeah, okay. So then I guess I just didn't know that was the. It's a lot.
I think the point is though
Yeah.
to not put a lot of foundation in.
The mission is to not put a lot of foundation
Yeah.
on.
The foundation, like, they just go in the spots that didn't have product and
Mhm.
the foundation, and it's very light.
Yeah, but I feel like I kind of look at that anyway, because you don't need a lot of foundation. For anybody who's looking at these social media, I hope nobody is putting dripping foundation on their face
Oh my God.
and doing all of that extra, because that's just not necessary. Foundation is really, it doesn't have to be heavy, because even with her, I focus more with the concealer because I was covering up her hyperpigmentation, and then I just put a little bit of foundation on the brush to blend everything together. So you don't have to have tons of foundation or a full face. It's according to what the face needs, or what look you're trying to achieve more than anything. Look up for me.
Have you ever applied makeup with an airbrush?
I have.
Do you like it?
It was very cool. It was very cool. Yeah, because I wasted more product than I should have. And yes, it was. It was because you have to get a handle on it. Like, I noticed when I first did the airbrush, I'd end up with foundation hard right here, or then it'd be heavy here and not anywhere there. So it was just really, it took time I wouldn't even say hard, it just took more time than I wanted it to take to get a handle on it. But once I did, like, I love seeing people do airbrush eyeshadow. I was like, that's very cool. But then you also have to have a few of them because you don't have time to keep switching out colors. But it is and it's fast once you have a handle on it.
For like foundation color matching,
Mhm.
do you find it's easier to match like us, like not counting something like hyperpigmentation?
Mhm.
Is it easier to match the face or the neck? Because I like my whole life I've struggled with because I have a very red face.
Mhm.
It never seems to match my neck.
We talked about that.
Yeah, like it's a lifelong
I'm
struggle,
happy you
and
asked that question.
I don't know. Like, do you match it to the neck, the foundation?
I usually try to look at the neck. It goes in different directions because some people will have a darker neck than they have their face.
Right.
So you got to kind of, what I kind of look at more so, because like with you having the redness in your face, so now we got to counteract the red,
Mhm.
because at the end of the day, we also don't want you to be washed out either.
Right.
So what I would probably do also is I would follow your neck so that you don't have a hard line of demarcation,
Mhm.
but I would make sure that I don't go too dark. You know what? I'm not too dark, but too light because I don't want you to be washed out completely.
So would you start the foundation down here then?
No, I would start at the foundation where I normally would, which is probably right in here. But I'm also studying you as I go, and then I will pull it down, just so that everything blends in well. Because it can be like, because your neck is significantly lighter, it can be, sorry. Um, you don't want to wash yourself out completely either. But yes, I would, long story short, I would follow the neck, follow the neck. And then just not do it too heavy. Like everything I blend down. I blend it. I never start here. This is probably where you need most of your coverage is in the middle. And then I blend
That, Abby. I'm on that.
and then I blend downward so that I can blend everything into the neck. Huh?
Yeah, I think.
Well, people, a lot of people do both. She was asking, when do you need bronzer versus contour? It depends. If you want to do contour, you can still put bronzer on top of that. You know, if you feel like you want to, you know, carve out your cheeks and things like that, you can still use bronzer also. I want you to look down. One of my favorite drugstore mascaras is L'Oreal.
Use that one too. Do you prefer, well, wait, never mind, I kind of see you using the curved spoolie,
Uh-huh.
but would you prefer the curved one or just the straight spoolie?
I go either. If I want to try to get more, if I want to pull those lashes up, usually I'll do the curved. If I'm honest, sometimes it's the first one I put my hand on.
You remember in 2016 when Anastasia Beverly Hills came out with their brow pomade?
Yes.
All the girls were doing basically box eyebrows.
Uh-huh.
What were you doing around that time?
Staying away from box eyebrows.
I
I know.
What were you doing? Did you like it?
Practicing.
Practicing.
That was about the time you first did me.
Uh-huh. Staying away from, oh, it was 2016. Oh my God.
2017.
2017. Oh my goodness. Yeah, staying away from box eyebrows.
When you're filling in the eyebrows, do you try to always match their natural brow shape, or do you kind of do like a different type of shape that they prefer?
I try to match their brow shape because for the most part, unless they had their brows waxed in that shape, it's a little bit difficult to create it unless you're gonna blank out their brow altogether and make a brand new one. But it's all up to them on, you know, a lot of times if they did they get their brows done before they came? Did they, you know what I mean? Because you can't, it's kind of like saying, you know, I'm gonna give you a whole new face, and but that's not what you came with. You know what I mean? I can't create something that wasn't there. You know, unless they have like skinny brows and they're like, I want a thick brow, but then you're like, you're a little crazy with that, you know, because that's not what your face is made for. So, but yeah, I'm always very mindful, and so I follow the shape that they have. Maybe enhance the tail if they want. Okay. I do like the curve for doing the lash line.
Keep opening the floor at 11, right? Okay,
So
we still in good time.
Okay.
how do you stop like the mascara and the eyeliner from looking like you have black eye?
You mean like if your mascara runs or your eyeliner runs? Use waterproof. Use waterproof, but you got to use oil base to take it off. That's what you have to remember. But yeah, usually if I do like a pencil, I like a kohl, I like a pencil, a kohl liner, KOHL, and then I like it in a waterproof formula so that it doesn't smudge. Mhm. And then also you can use a pencil and then still go on top of it with an eyeshadow to set it as well.
Have you ever had a client who wanted like freckles?
No, I have not. The freckle trend has tickled me.
Have you heard of that, the concealer, like the brand is like Yummy, like that's what it's called.
Mm-mm.
Honestly, I feel like, okay, so I tried it and I think that is real good because it's like real lightweight and
Mhm.
it blends in like easily, like really good. Like I have some of it on right now,
Mhm.
but it kind of looks like my skin.
Uh-huh.
I just put a little bit
Your
of
blush, but
pressed
but you see it though.
yeah, so I was just like, man, like that was good. I didn't know that if it was popular or not, because my sister had like a Ipsy subscription and it came in there.
Uh-huh.
Gave it to me because.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, I was just wondering if that was like a brand that was.
Yeah, I haven't heard of that, but I have there. Ipsy has a lot of different brands and things like that. With her blush placement, again, blush is one of those things too. It depends on the type of brush. If you use a dense brush, you'll get a heavier placement. If you do a lighter brush, you get a lighter placement. So it's kind of one of those things that everything as far as makeup goes, the denser the eyeshadow brush, the more color deposit. The denser the foundation brush, the more foundation deposit. Everything is based off how much coverage you actually want to have. So I like kind of the lighter bristles so that I could just kind of brush that in. She has great cheekbones already. Just bring it up a little bit.
Do you use liquid blush or no?
Hmm?
Do you use liquid?
I do. I love cream blushes. And I still go on top of them with a powder. And I will still go on top of them with a powder.
How do you feel about lip liners to enhance the person's lips? Like, let's say if they have small lips and they want to make them look bigger, or if they have big lips and they want to make them look smaller.
Yeah, I love a lip liner. I am all for lip liner. I was mad at one time. Somebody had said don't use lip liners. I was like, oh, the lies you tell. Lip liners are such. I love a lip liner, and I love the fact that it helps it to stay on longer too, and it gives you a good shape.
I love the trend where you wear the lip liner with just like the lip gloss, or you add like a tab of lipstick and then your gloss on top.
Oh, so that's right. We are taking it back to like the 80s with that hard.
Yeah, I got some great questions.
Yes, you do. Thank you so much.
Do you do that every time you do a different lip? Just spray it?
Actually, that was alcohol. I always spray them, even though I keep them sharpened. But that's a part of my sanitation also, is that I spray it. Then when I go to clean my kit, or say if I was going to use this on somebody else, I'm going to sharpen it and then spray it again. If you're going to make a lip a little bit bigger, you're going to go more on the outline of the lip. If you want to try to minimize, you're going to stay inside the line.
And then two questions about contour.
Sure.
So like when you're contouring your nose, I know sometimes you can use bronzer, but if you're using contour and they put the concealer in the middle to like highlight it, do you blend out the contour first or the concealer?
I usually try to blend out the contour first, just because you want to soften that line and then go in there. It's like I feel like with the contouring piece, especially in that nose area, that's a constant blend. If you don't, you will see it. You will see. So it is kind of blending that contour out, making sure you're in the right placement, blending it with a soft brush. So you're going to do a soft line. Use your fluffier brushes to blend it out. Then go in with that middle. And then again, still just kind of making sure you soften up that blend. Right now, I've been hooked on, have you guys ever used the butter glosses by NYX?
Yes. Yeah.
Love those. You use it. I love those.
Do you carry multiple shades of foundation on you, or do you carry like just a small few and then create everyone's shade by from scratch?
I will, yes, carry a small, because I don't carry this with me. If I'm going to do makeup, even if I'm doing, a big party, I consolidate a lot. I use, I'll carry these, which are Bobbi Brown's foundations, and I'll mix. Because sometimes it's just easier that way. I love a palette. Right now, I've been really trying to find a good foundation palette that you can just kind of do everything. Because if you do get into doing makeup, that kit will break your back, trying to carry everything with you. So I try to keep it as simple as I possibly can.
Did you hear that?
Yes, I heard
Okay.
that.
This is my 5-bag student right here.
That is true. I carry everything.
Yeah, when I first started doing makeup, I had a metal train case and my shoulder was hurting so bad. I was like, oh my goodness, this some gotta give here.
I'm starting to have back problems.
See? And I bet you don't need half of what's in there, do
And
you?
I don't need half of what's in there. You're correct.
How do you feel about certain celebrities with makeup lines? Have you ever like tried their makeup brands like Selena Gomez?
The Fenty.
Fenty is Fenty is awesome. You know what? I have not played with a lot of them. I'm pretty consistent with what I like. I try not to get into the hype. If I hear that it's like a good product, like of course Fenty is an awesome product. That she has done no wrong with that at all. But stuff like Kylie Jenner and stuff like that, for me, it's all about pigment. Like I need some pigment. I need to be able to see it. I don't want to have to apply 32 layers of makeup. If it has good pigment, then I'll give it a shot.
Yeah, because with the Kylie, I was in Ulta, and it was like one lip liner pencil was like $28. So I did like one of the testers, and it was so dry.
Yeah.
You would have thought it was like a cream liner with it being so expensive.
Oh
And
yeah.
it was just dried out with $28 for no reason.
Yeah. See, no. Mm-mm.
Lady Gaga's House Labs, their donation. Good, and I'm super smart.
I really want to try it, and their foundations are not cheap at all. But I said I'm gonna have to break down because it's beautiful. Every time I look at it, I was like, that is gorgeous.
Have you heard about Vanessa Myers?
Another fan. When I go to the makeup show, I love going to that space. I haven't been to the makeup show in a couple of years, but her stuff is beautiful. And Pat McGrath had gorgeous stuff also.
And
We're going to the Fine Lady show, so they should see a lot of different makeup liners that should be there.
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely, absolutely. And then that's basically it. Any other questions?
I have one more question.
Uh-huh.
So when you're going throughout the steps, would you spray
Yes.
setting spray sometime?
Mhm.
Like, so if we have your foundation and you put concealer on, would you let it sit and then spray and then blend? Or it just depends on the look?
It depends on the look that I'm going for. I usually prefer setting spray at the very end because sometimes setting spray can be sticky. So it'll go back, and then when you go back, it can affect like how the makeup is laying when you go to apply it. Because I've seen like some people will do setting powder, then they'll spray. Then they'll go and do the foundation and then they'll spray. But sometimes that setting powder can change the texture. And I don't want to have to do anything all over again. So I'm always gonna set spray last. Yeah. Mhm.
There you go.
Like a setting spray, then you would come back.
You know what? We were just talking about that actually. One of my big go-tos has always been like a little NYX one. But I really want to try the L'Oreal Infallible one.
it's good.
Yeah, wait 1 second. Yes, ma'am.
Do you recommend using a primer with skin tint or?
A primer with skin tint?
Yes.
It depends if you're a sweater. If you are not so much a sweater, because the primer doesn't stop you from sweating, but it'll help you with the oil. If you're super oily, then yes, you can do that. Yes, ma'am.
Have you ever came across any YouTube makeup artists like James Charles, Jackie Aina?
No, none that like just like meeting.
Yeah, like meeting
Oh,
or
no.
if you got the chance to like
No.
makeup
No, but I do watch their things. I did get a chance to meet a young lady who was doing the makeup for Empire, and I was super excited. She was so shocked because I was like, oh, and she was like, I just do makeup. I said, I know, but it's beautiful, because you do kind of become a fangirl a little bit. But, yeah. Somebody else had a question, I saw, so.
Was that you? You had yours? Okay.
Yep, she did. Yep.
Any other questions, you guys? Let's get on.
Thank you, guys. And you all, thank you so much for your patience. I was so nervous and I was like, "Ah," but thank you guys so much. And thank you for being a great audience. I really appreciate it.
You like it?
Yes.
Okay, one last question. Do you have any business cards or Instagram that we could like follow you on in case we want to bring you?
You know what? Of course, I forgot to bring business cards with me. My other confession is I'm horrible about promoting myself on Instagram, but I will give, I can actually, yes, I'm bad about it. But you know what? I will make sure I get some cards to Micaiah. Micaiah actually knows my daughter. I know. And you do better too. We're gonna do better.